Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you very much for joining me here. Happy Thursday to you and your family, and possibly even Friday, depending on where you're watching this, right? So we're going to take a look at Solana again. We've been keeping pretty consistent updates on this guy because I get a lot of requests. A lot of my community members are, well, really big fans of Solana and or investing in it, so just want to make sure we cover that. We are experiencing a pullback, which is pretty much expected from yesterday. We have a doji candle leading into this, which pretty much implies that we should see further downside, but I'll go ahead and look at some specifics with you and help you know if this is worthwhile investing in a long or short position. All right, so that being said, I'm not a financial advisor. Really hope you understand that. Love to teach people to trade. You want to trade better? CryptoCache.tech is a website, link down below. I have a trading academy where I teach you how to trade, a community, and of course, I send out signals as well for all of my community members. In other words, we had taken some nice profits, 42% from Ethereum yesterday as our fourth profit target. BNB 50% here in 11 days, as well as this one's a pretty good one here, 83% from Ethereum in 15 days. So we got to keep in mind that patience is key in this environment, right? Because you can't always hit 195% in 3 days. So just keep that in mind. That was fantastic. Again, that's one of our Solana longs here recently. But on the same accord, it's just something you got to work with. I get the question a lot. Hey, when's the next signal? Well, you don't want to force trades, right? That's the whole key to being a good trader, is to find the right opportunity, not necessarily jumping in whenever you feel like it and jumping out. That gets you wrecked pretty quick. Again, if you want to use the best exchange possible in the world, my personal opinion, use Bitget. Use the link down below. Register for a $10,000 prize pool monthly. They have really nice sign-on bonuses as well. You do need it for leverage, or more importantly, you need a VPN to be able to utilize leverage on any of these other exchanges. So I do have an awesome benefit here, 3 months free with 12-month plan. Pretty excited about that because I've used ExpressVPN for a long time. I never thought I'd be sponsored with them, and I think it's really cool to be able to have that opportunity for my community. So check that out when you can. All right, so let's talk about this descending trend. Of course, I know we covered this yesterday, but just to confirm, we broke the descending trend. We are up roughly 2.5 to 3 trading days based on overextension we looked at on the 4-hour yesterday. So what I'm getting at is we are overextended yesterday in about 72 hours. We've been continuously bullish in the last 72 hours, and that's essentially a very common candlestick pattern. That is a 3 white soldiers. The reason why that happens is because overextension occurs on that midterm time frame, roughly within 3 days. You rarely have a continuation past 3 days, unless of course there's some anomaly in a bullish trend with cryptocurrency, of course, which we saw last year and the year before. But minus those things there, of course, in a bear market, when you see 3 white soldiers, it's a pretty common characteristic to see a pullback. Now again, this is not the typical candlestick pattern because you don't have 3 strong candles. You got 2 strong candles followed by a doji. Effectively the same thing, if not a better confirmation that the price is unwilling to pass this plane here at 0.786. So 1350 is still that strong resistance as I talked about yesterday. Okay, so a closure below that with a doji candle leads me to believe we're going to see further downside. Keep in mind also, traditional markets are down, dollar index is up, Bitcoin's correcting itself by a small amount. So in a sense, we are in a situation where a lot of altcoins are getting, I wouldn't say hit, but they are reversing themselves. Again, Bitcoin dominance is on the rise. That implies a lot of value coming from traditional altcoins is going into Bitcoin. That's essentially the concept. That's how that works. So just note that that's kind of where we're at there for, pretty much the regular market and how that affects it. So just note that kind of factors in a little bit, but regardless of that stuff, for the most part, overextension is the reason why this is pulling back. And I'll tell you about that here in a minute. So first of all, daily still looks good. So if we see a pullback today, not the end of the world. Even if we see a red day tomorrow, perfectly fine. Honestly, we kind of want that so we can calm down and leg up and consolidate at this previous most volume support. Okay, we got a tremendous amount of volume there at 1250, or correction, it was 12, I think it was 1230, right in that range? Yeah, 1230 is essentially one of those Fibonacci levels. Okay, now we probably want to redraw out some new fibs based on the fact that we have a most recent high. We want to see how much further lower it could possibly go. So we'll go ahead and add that actually here. Let's do that right now. Just to quickly clarify though, we're above 50 on the R side. There is still room to run. But what we want though, just to clarify, is if the price were to come back down, that would bounce us right perfectly off 50 and then the next leg up. So we kind of want a price point at 1230. That to me is going to be a good entry if we get back down there. That's what I'm looking for. That's where I have this alert set up. All right, so here's the thing. For Fibonacci retracement, you got to keep in mind, you go from the most recent high to the most recent low. So at this point right now where we're at, we're pretty much needing to reevaluate a little bit based on the fact that we did have a candlestick closure yesterday and today's opening lower, right? So again, looking pretty good here in that sense. We can see another Fibonacci level here at about 1275 as a close approximate. That could be another bouncing point. So if 1275 doesn't hold, then we can expect 1230 to likely bounce, okay? So again, just want to kind of throw that up there so you can kind of see what that extra little level looks like. I try not to have too many Fibonacci retracement levels on here, but generally speaking at this point, we kind of want to go with both of them because then we can get the longer term movements and the shorter term movements, and both have different support levels, okay? So generally speaking right now, that's kind of what we're looking at. In fact, let's just keep that open for the moment so we can kind of see on smaller time frames what that looks like for us. So when it comes to Fibonacci retracement and the 4-hour time frame, I get the question also, when should I draw it out? It's best on the daily, just based on the simple fact that that's a better average. It's a 24-hour average, so to speak, and it gives you more specific lines, but generally speaking, you can still draw them on the 4-hour if you're trading at quicker time frames. Okay. That being said, though, we're under 70 again, which is great. We're back down underneath that. We want to be closer to 50, honestly, to get that natural bounce, but we do have a MACD divergence here telling us there's potential continuation to the downside. Until this starts to dissipate and we start to kind of slow down, there's no reason for us to expect it not to. In other words, we should experience a pullback to 1275 and or 1230 in the relative near future. Again, that's just kind of how it feels based on momentum. Let's take a quick look at T sequential, see if we got a reset yet here or not. You can see here's that overextension as they're talking about a full 72 hours of continuation, getting rejected by that Fibonacci retracement level. Therefore, we're kind of range bound now between 1270, all right, let's say 1280, make a round number, 1280 and 1350. We're effectively range bound here, okay? So if we stay range bound for a while, there's a good chance we could see another leg up because the simple fact that the daily is telling us we have a positive momentum, and the price could continue higher from here. I think it's more likely for the price to continue higher after a small dip than it would be to come down much lower. Once again, pending Bitcoin doesn't have a terrible close to the week, I think we're looking pretty good, okay? That being said, once again, 1280 is a current support level. If we lose 1280, I believe 1230 would hold, okay? So that's essentially what we're looking at there. So that's kind of where we're at there for the 4-hour. Overall, kind of that natural shift, right? And it's okay that it's doing that because that's very normal and we want it to happen because it's overextended on the short term. Taking a look at the shorter term time frame here on the hourly, we can kind of see that overextension to the upside here. It was fairly healthy, keep in mind. These are healthy continuation patterns. These are the staircase patterns I teach in my trading community. In other words, you come up, over, you kind of consistently leg up. You're not just shooting straight up and then back down, right? So a healthy continuation has this, and what they look like in most cases is little flags, okay? So we had a lot of those little flags, and they hit this overextended state. That's all there is to it. So you can only go so far, so long in this kind of market, especially when we're in bear market. The probability of it going higher from here is lower, based on Bitcoin dominance increasing and a lot of alts selling off. They're taking their profits, whomever they are that has the money to move the market. All right, that's generally what we're looking at here. So that being said, let's go ahead and wrap up here on the hourly. We can see we've just got plenty of sideways action, and then of course we take a look at the cloud. This told us yesterday, as I mentioned, go ahead and trim your position if you haven't already. The likelihood of a further pullback makes sense. The conversion line is below the baseline, which tells us we saw that negative momentum, or that downward momentum, and we're also stuck within the cloud. So the general rule of thumb for the cloud is to not invest while it's in, because it's still just determining which way it wants to go. Okay, so hypothetically we get a break above this little level here at 1350 and we close above that. That's a case in point where we want to take a long, and obviously if it were to dip down to 1230, we'd reevaluate, but we'd also consider a long position there because that seems like a very strong support level based on a large amount of volume in this area. Okay, so keep in mind there was tremendous amount of volume in that area, and you can kind of tell that we have somewhat of a support there at 1230. Obviously the most amount of volume is there at about the $10 mark, but we don't anticipate the price to come down that low again, at least not for some time. Once again, pending Bitcoin doesn't have a terrible, obnoxious day. So that's generally what we're looking at here. All in all, pretty good in the general sense of things. And I can tell you that we are not in bad shape whatsoever. I think that continuation upwards makes a lot more sense, but we just need a little bit more period of consolidation here. And then, just say Bitcoin were to retest that 17,000 range and close at 17,000 or higher, then we're looking really good. And again, if you want to become familiarized with how Bitcoin is moving, I would recommend, if you're going to be a better trader, just understand how Bitcoin moves and the correlation between alts and Bitcoin. Once you understand that, you kind of have this aha moment, you figure things out, and it's just so much easier to analyze the charts if you know what Bitcoin's doing. So, reference those videos that I make on the daily, and obviously use that as hopefully a foundation for you. But either way, I appreciate you watching. Hopefully this made sense for you. If you want to become a better trader, once again, as per usual, CryptoCache.tech is a site. We do have a new site rolling out near the end of the month. A lot of members are coming over to lock in their rate. So just to make sure you understand, you are absolutely grandfathered in if you register before the price changes. Okay, just keep that in mind. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks again so much for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.